Welcome back, Mando.
Ho. Greetings, Bucketheads, and welcome to another exciting Bantha Tracks bonus show. And we are here to talk about the new trailer that just came out for The Mandalorian and Grogu, coming soon to a theater near you. Let's get into it. You know what that means, Bucketheads. It's time. Strap on your buckets. Let's go.
Get out of here. We'll hold them off.
You're going to have to relocate the covert.
This is the way.
This is the way.
All right, so the day is here. It's finally upon us. The full trailer for The Mandalorian and Grogu. Disney and Star Wars started teasing it yesterday that it'd be released in the morning. We got a little quick glimpses of things yesterday afternoon. And then today, this morning, at least this morning where I live, I think this morning for everybody, basically, we got it, right? It's a little over 2 minutes. And what does it really tell us about this movie? Well, not much. I think that's part of the plan, right? They're doing a little bit less is more sort of thing. I still don't really have a good sense of what the plot is in this movie. Clearly, we see Din and Grogu on an adventure. They're tied up with the Hutts. They're tied up with the Imperial Remnant. And I mean, I'm intrigued about it. But what did this trailer really have in it that sort of set it apart from anything else? I don't know. I still don't know if I have that feeling if this movie will be significantly different than an episode of the show or of a season of the show. And I'm not saying that necessarily as a bad thing. Because I do think they're playing it close to the vest. I do think they're keeping some things to themselves. You know, this teaser still doesn't show the big AT-AT scene that everyone got to see at Star Wars Celebration. So I think there are probably some big set pieces that they are keeping for themselves. And this trailer sort of like does a little bit what that first teaser did too, which was like show us familiarity, show us things that we have seen before. You know, so it opening up with silhouettes of X-Wings and Y-Wings. And we're back on the new Razor Crest. You know, we're seeing familiar takes of Star Wars. We're getting familiar music from Star Wars. And for Star Wars animation fans, we get to see some familiar faces come to life. Now, granted, we've seen Zeb make the transition, but you get more Zeb in this trailer. We see Embo, which I'm excited about because if you know the podcast, you know I'm a big fan of Embo. Nice to see that Embo is still bounty hunting in this period of time in the Star Wars galaxy. The Hutt twins return, but we knew that was coming. We see a smidge more of Rota. We see some other creatures in play here, including what was teased in the first trailer, the Mantelian Sarvrip, you know, the creature from the Dejeric board from the original, from A New Hope. But there's a lot of familiar, right? You know, we see Grogu get into a pram and take off like a bat out of heck. You know, it's an interesting trailer in that sense. It's giving us familiarity when I think most of us are wanting something new. So I enjoyed the trailer. I'm hopeful for what it shows. I'd like to see it expanded upon, obviously, but I think they're keeping it close to the vest, right? You know, we see Din getting an assignment from Ripley. I'm just going to call her Ripley for now until I got her name more completely memorized. You know, he's given a deck of cards. This is all very U.S. military right here, like the deck of cards of your the most wanted Imperials, right? So all this stuff like sort of like has a little bit of a ring to the familiar for us in real life as well. But again, he's tied up with the criminal underworld as well. So like, you know, does he have to find the Hutts to find some of these Imperials? The Imperials are probably doing business with the Hutts at this point in time. And I guess the big looming question is are these Imperials aware of the imminent return of Thrawn? So none of those things are teased at all. which again, I believe we all sort of knew that this movie is like the thing before the thing, the big thing that wraps up like this entire Mandalorian saga, which is supposedly going to be a Dave Filoni directed Star Wars flick, if that's still in the cards now that he's the person in charge of Lucasfilm. Again, I don't have any complaints about the trailer because I do think it is fun and it's exciting and it shows us the things that we want to see. One of my things was, okay, this was an interesting choice right here because they show us very quickly in the trailer Din having his helmet removed by the Hutts. We quickly see that as Pedro Pascal. And I think that was intentional. I think they wanted people to know, like, it's not the other guys in this movie and Pedro just doing voiceover work in a studio far, far away. No. Pedro Pascal is on set. He is the Mandalorian, and it looks like there's gonna be a decent chunk of action with him helmetless. Now, what does that mean as far as Din Djarin's character, though? That's sort of the more intriguing element to this, because when he voluntarily removes his helmet in season 2, it's a choice, and there are consequences for said choice. And we find out that having your helmet removed by the enemy also leads to consequences too. Now, Din has a lot easier this time around. He can just go back to the sacred waters of Mandalore and dunk his head in there pretty easily nowadays. But is that really what's going on here? Or is Din less beholden to the Children of the Watch credo that he used to be? Has he sort of relaxed his stance on that? And we don't get a real good feel for that from the trailer. But again, Din's now in a position where he has met and engaged with Mandalorians of many different belief systems and knows that not all Mandalorians keep their helmets on at all times. So has that changed for him? And again, that's not anything we get from the trailer, but I think it's something that we should consider for ourselves as we move into the movie. Because again, this trailer shows us the familiar, shows us those beats, those elements, those things that we know, the music that we know, the tone that we know. But will it stay that way? Are they holding things back from us? Are they holding back the character development that surely has occurred? In the trailer, there's a great voiceover where Din talks about Grogu and how he's going to live many, many centuries beyond Din Djarin, and how Din can only teach him what he can teach him while he's there. And so there will come a time when Grogu will have to fend for himself. It's an interesting passage. I can't wait to see the context of it as we get to see the movie. Otherwise, it's a good trailer. I'm optimistic. Did I get wowed by the trailer in any particular scenes? No, I didn't. But I think they're holding that wow factor back. I think they're keeping that up their sleeves so that we can all have that moment in the theaters where we're just like, oh, cool, whoa. And that'll be great. I'll be excited for that. I'm okay with the keeping your cards to yourself, keep them close to your chest. I'm okay with this philosophy as long as it pays off. Again, if we go into the theaters and we don't really get anything that we couldn't have seen on the Disney Plus show, I think I will be disappointed, but it may not ruin the movie. Like, let's not, again, Star Wars has enough problems with the burden of expectation. So let's not place too many on this flick. Just like with the Mandalorian TV show when it debuted, we were all excited, we were all curious, but it didn't suffer from the burden of expectation like the movies do. Let's not put this on this film. Again, are we hoping to see something bigger and more grandiose than a Disney Plus show? Of course we are. But let's temper expectations. Let's keep things in mind, and let's see if this strategy of holding back, of showing less is more for these trailers is going to pay out once the film comes out and we get to see it, and hopefully we get to see the spectacle and the grandioseness. Because again, remember, this show started very, very small, and it steadily got bigger as it went on. And now we're to a critical juncture, I think, with Din Djarin and this series, because we're taking it to the cinemas, and it's going to be a big deal. But again, we cannot put expectations on this film. It does not exist to re-galvanize your fandom. All right? Your fandom is your own personal thing. and you can't lynch or you can't tie everything to one movie. It is not the Mandalorian Grogu's job to restore your faith in Star Wars. Maybe it will do that, but I don't think that's the film's job. So again, let's all be cool. Again, I'm gonna watch this trailer a lot more times because there's a lot of things to see in here. I don't like to super overanalyze trailers. I think it's annoying, and it leads to speculation, which I don't care for. We get enough from this trailer. Again, familiar characters that we haven't seen before, or haven't seen in a long time. Characters we haven't seen since they were in animation. I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued. I'm excited. I like the idea of Din dealing with the underworld, dealing with the Imperial Remnant. I still like to know who our big bad is, but that's okay. I can sit back, some Imperial warlord, I'm sure. And let's see what happens. Let's see where it goes from here. And let's be cool about it. But the Mandalorian Grogu is going to be here real soon. So let's be excited about that part of things, all right? Hey, Star Wars back in the big screen. And let's hope it's a fun time. I think that's what I have to remind myself of, is I just want to go and have a good time and see some stuff that maybe I hadn't seen before. And maybe give me a couple new ideas about who these characters are and what their journey is. And yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to that. And I think that's all I have to say about the trailer, really. Again, you can pull it apart. You can analyze the characters that we see in certain scenes and sequences or not. Get ready for the film. It will be here very, very soon. And I hope it's going to be a good time that we all are hoping it will be. Okay. I think I've got it all out of my system. I'm going to go back and keep watching that trailer a few more times. If anything else catches my eye, I'll let you know. But again, I like this trailer. It's a good trailer. I think the strategy of keeping things close, not showing too much in the trailers is a good thing. Let's see if it pans out when the movie's released. Otherwise, you guys go out there and enjoy the rest of your days. I hope you've had a chance to listen to our Star Wars Rebels rewatch episodes. They've been a lot of fun, and we're getting to a really big spot in that series. So stay tuned for those. Make sure you're following on the socials. I'm trying to be more active on there, trying to get that restarted, my activity on the socials. But I can't lie. It is a cesspool it is a wretched hive of scum and villainy on the internet. So let's all be careful out there. But you can find me on the socials. Mando_Vision on X and Insta. MandoVision at Blue Sky. And of course, you can email the show, MandoVisionTom@gmail.com. Make sure you're liking, subscribing, following, and sharing the show with all the Mandalorians in your covert. If you have the time, sweet 5-star reviews. Appreciate you guys take the time to do that. All right. Go out there, be great Star Wars fans. Show them this trailer. Show the people this trailer and see what they think. I am sort of curious what the general public will think of this trailer. It does feel aimed very specifically at Star Wars fans. But hey, you got to win over the Star Wars fans first, right? Once you win over some Star Wars fans, then you can get the average Joes involved. The average Joes and Janes and whoever's in between. All right, Bucketheads. Remember this podcast, it can only end one way. This is the way.
This is the way.
This is the way.
This is the way.
Bounty hunting is a complicated profession. I would like to see the baby.
Admiral, we have enemy ships in Sector 47.
It's a trap!